Well, Dan, here we are, day 2.
Here we are again.
Yeah.
It's pretty fun. A lot of excitement going around here. We've got another amazing interview.
Yes, and he's a friend of yours.
Yeah, we just met, but we feel like we've known each other for a long time because we have a great mutual friend, Brandon Smith. Where are you? So.
All the shouts out to Brandon.
Yeah.
Brandon, if you are watching, we have learned about your entire life. You're really cool. You should be on the show
So
sometime.
we don't need to interview you now because we already know.
Yeah,
But
that's
come
right.
on. Yeah.
Okay, so day 2, Spark Media.
Yes.
Tell us all the things. You were a keynote speaker here, and tell us your favorite part so far about Spark Media.
I think the best part is always the people you meet. I've just found that. So I lead these outdoor expeditions around the world, and I've had some like big names come to speak. And what I find is most people don't remember what the speaker said. They remember a connection that was made at the event.
Right.
And I think that's just the nature of it. When you're around people that are like-minded, but maybe stretch you a little bit, that's what I'm going to take away. I've met 3 people here. I know I'm going to stay in contact with them.
Oh, that's so awesome.
Yeah.
That's really great. Yeah. It's been really great to see all the community that's been here and all of the connections that have been happening. And, you know, speakers like you, like everybody coming out, props to you. So many people were saying how great you did this morning and what you talked on this morning. And they were just raving about the substance of your talk, how good it was. So explain to everybody watching that didn't get to see that, what was your presentation about today?
I mean, the essence of it is that God is always leading us, and usually his work in our life looks more like a circle than a straight line. So you end up coming back to certain themes in your life, maybe certain time frames, maybe certain places where you go, I never thought I'd be back here, or I swear to never come back here. And here I am again. But each time God is working, and he's making you more of who he intends for you to be. And we'd like it to be a straight line, but typically what's interesting is Psalm 23. It says, the Lord is my shepherd. He leads me in paths of righteousness. That Hebrew word path actually has this sense of paths made of circles, like a shepherd gently leading sheep up a hill. Can't go straight up.
Wow.
And so he does that for us.
Yeah.
I think he knows our limits.
Yep.
That verse, he knows our frame. He remembers that we are but dust, right? And so he's gently leading us to all he intends for us. But it usually looks like a circle. And sometimes we're like, I'm going this again. But each time you look different, he looks different. And I think the circle looks something like, I think every season of life, there's about 9 stages to it. And in storytelling, we call it the hero's journey, where there's a defining moment that changes everything, a turning point. Courage is required from the hero. You think about Luke Skywalker, he's minding his own business. Next thing you know is he's in an intergalactic battle.
Right.
Courage is required. A guide shows up, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Gandalf. For us, it's the Holy Spirit. I mean, Jesus said, I'm going to leave you a guide. He's going to guide you in all truth. Then there's a moment of decisive decision where you've just got to commit to the path and go all in. You can't hold back. Then you face a series of challenges, and oftentimes you think once you commit it'll get easier. It actually gets harder. My favorite author, G.K. Chesterton, he says, an adventure is only an inconvenience rightly considered. And we love other people's adventures. That's why we read books.
For sure.
But when it happens to us, we're like, what did I do wrong? No, this is part of the process. And then there's a dark cave we go into where you face off with maybe Darth Vader or something about yourself you don't like. And you usually emerge from that dark cave with a walking a little limp, maybe a little scar. But that limp is what has given you a message.
Yeah.
And you've got experience. Like I say, a person with experience is never at the mercy of a person with a theory. And we've all met people who are like, they read that in a book.
Yeah.
And you other people where you go, wow, they know that.
They really live
it's
that.
a knowing.
Yeah.
It's like you can feel it in their communication. It's like a knowing that's there.
So that's what happens. And then you emerge from that. You've got a new perspective on God, on yourself. And the beautiful thing is that gives you a message. And that's where the message becomes not about you, it becomes about God's work. That verse in Revelation, we all love it, says, they overcame by the blood of the Lamb and the word of their testimony. God redeemed your story when you turned it to him. And now, as you share that, the power comes and it starts flowing through you. And so that was my talk this morning, is you've got a unique message to share and a problem to solve, and everything that's happened to you has prepared you for that.
Wow, that's so powerful.
It is.
I wish I got to hear it, but I think we were actually recording some of your other colleagues in here doing the podcast.
Yes.
Check out the stream later.
Don't worry, I'm not upset.
Okay.
Just kidding.
But you do have a book.
There's a whole book
right?
about it. It's called Connecting the Dots, What God is Doing When Life Doesn't Make Sense. It's on Audible, Barnes & Noble, everybody's got it. So you can get out there and get it. There's also some YouVersion devotionals. I've written the YouVersion, the Bible app. I've written quite a few of those. We have specifically one about connecting the dots. If you want to dip your toe in the concept, connecting the YouVersion, just put in my name, Joel Malm. And those are all free. So
Oh, that's
Yeah,
very cool.
that's great. And to get your book, do you just search the title on anything and it'll
connecting
come
the
up?
dots, what God is doing when life didn't make sense, or you can put my name in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have I'm sure you have social medias.
Have all that, yeah.
Yeah, and would that be your personal name?
Yep,
or would
it's
that
Joel R. Malm, my middle initial R for Richard. So yeah, and then on
Okay.
Facebook, I've got that, and we're slowly dabbling in video. So I've just started YouTube. So we'll see how
Oh,
that goes.
hey.
It's I don't like learning new stuff.
I'm right there with you on
Any
that. I think
kinda-
we all are. Yeah.
Any
Yeah.
kind of podcast coming up?
We do. I have a
Yep.
podcast with my dad,
Yeah.
and I've actually gotten a lot of clarity at this conference about what to focus on.
Okay.
My drive for my podcast was somebody said, when you do a podcast, it needs to be something that's continually, you're constantly producing material. And I was like, the only thing I like doing on a continual basis is talking to my dad. He is the man who is most like Jesus that I know.
That is
Wow.
so amazing.
So
What
I
a
just
gift.
talked to him about stuff I learned growing up. And my goal, this is my driving thing, is I want my daughter to have thousands of hours
Oh, that's
of me talking to
fantastic.
dad,
Yeah.
my dad, her grandpa,
Yeah.
and learning his wisdom. So that's the driving force behind it. And I think this specific conference, I've kind of gotten a clearer vision for how to get the word out about that. And my goal for the longest time has been to have this huge database of content where I'm
Yeah.
talking to my dad. But I think it's something that really everybody could benefit from. So
I think that's really good to have that one person in mind that you're speaking to in any platform. I hear that a lot about, like, identify your one avatar or your
Yep.
ideal customer. Who is it? So even if it's your daughter, everybody else gets to benefit from that kind of,
Yeah.
that kind of conversation.
they
That's
say,
special.
when I was getting writing coaching and when I first started writing, my writing coach, she said, write to one person, a face and a name, that if you had 6 hours to sit across the table from them and share everything that they need to hear, how to get through what you've just gone through, write to that person. Think about their pain point, think about that stage of life. And I've done that. And every time you write like that, you've probably seen this, guys, as communicators as well. It's when you do that, people come up to you and go, I thought you wrote that to me.
Yeah.
You're like, well, it was
Yeah,
actually to
that's how
somebody
that
else.
happens, right?
And now I wasn't listening to your phone call. I
Yeah,
wasn't reading your
yeah.
email.
Yeah.
We all got problems, man. And
Yeah.
a lot of them
Yep.
are similar. So yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really
And-
good.
And I think there's a lot of people out there right now because content is easier to make than ever. The equipment, we're talking about that tomorrow. We're doing a talk together, the difference between audio and video podcasting and the equipment that you should start with at the beginner level and the highest level, and some do's and don'ts and what to look for. But I think, you can do this. You can buy a mic and set up in your house and make content. I think there's a lot of people sitting on content that don't know how to strategize how to get the content to the world. Or they don't think that nobody wants to hear because it's just me and my dad talking, because that seems so everyday to you. But for somebody out there, I hear it, and my dad passed away when I was 16, and it's like, oh my gosh, what a treasure that is for people that, would love to hear that wisdom from a father's voice, to their child, and just tune in and listen to all those things. It's like that you think, in your world, but to other people's worlds, it really matters.
That's true.
There's a really good message behind a lot of people's stories. If it's in you enough to set up a mic and record it,
Yeah.
then I guarantee you, one person that will benefit from it.
Absolutely.
To put it out there, to put it to the world and get it out there. And that's For the One Studio is all about, there's we've heard a million things of why the name is For the One, but it is that. It is the very thing of the studio was created for people to create content for the one person that needs to hear that good message, that needs that hope, that needs that truth, that needs that laugh, that needs that encouragement. It's for the one.
Yeah.
It's for the one person. And if we would all have the courage to give away what we have, the kindness, the love, the goodness, whatever it is that we have, if we just had the courage to sit in front of a mic and give that away to one person, and then that person was able to give it away to another, we would cause a ripple effect that could truly change the world for good. And so I love that you are getting clarity on that. You're going to get this podcast out, and people are going to get to tune in to a good conversation with you and your dad and have that chance to learn some wisdoms.
What's the name of the podcast?
We just call it the Malm podcast. That way I can take it any direction I want. But I think we're going to get a little
Totally,
more
yeah.
focused. Yeah. We can do whatever we want. It's got our name on it.
Right.
That's good.
So we may end up changing that, but yeah.
Well, hey, it works
Yeah.
now.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, thanks for sitting with us today.
Thanks for having me.
And I loved all that you've shared with us today. I hope you were encouraged and you were inspired. And if you too are sitting on some content or an idea, we encourage you to start one today too. Put it
right.
in there. Like, just
Yeah.
put it in the can and upload it and get it to the world. It's one person in this world should be inspired from it. So,
That's right. Just start and
Yeah.
you'll learn.
yep, that's just start. So, Dan, thanks for sitting with us today.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for sponsoring
Thanks,
the man
Joelle.
behind the camera that makes
Yeah.
everything so great that we finally got
Well,
him in front of the camera.
Yeah.
I know. I like to be behind the camera more, but it's the time. I gotta get out. I just gotta start, right?
Yep.
That's right.
This had to
Preaching to
start.
the choir. So
That's right. So until next time, we'll see you on The Insider.